So this webinar is now being recorded. So welcome again. So we've invited you either because you have Bug Club Phonics and may be interested to hear more about the validation and new content, or because you're new to Bug Club Phonics and may be looking to find out more about what it has to offer. So today we're going to cover a quick overview of Bug Club Phonics, a look at the news about DFE validation and the changes that we've made. Then I'll do a live walkthrough of Bug Club Phonics on Active Learn Primary. We'll have a peek at some of the new books that we're adding, a reminder of the professional development that we offer, including a new course in the autumn, and a chance to ask any questions that you might have. So I'll now hand over to my colleague Lucy, who's going to fill you in on an overview of Bug Club Phonics and talk about validation.
Great, thanks, Ellie. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sounds great.
Fab. Okay, so we're really pleased to say that Bug Club Phonics has been revalidated as one of the DFE's phonics programs. We submitted it in the first round and were successful, so that's really good news. Bug Club Phonics is eligible for English Hub funding as a result, and that's including the £5 million that the DFE announced over the weekend just gone. That £5 million is going to be allocated via 15 of the English hubs, and they've listed 3 as the first point of contact for queries about that particular pot of money. Also, they released the early reading framework, and we've been reading through that, and really happy to say that a lot of what's in there chimes with Bug Club Phonics. Which is fantastic. So this slide shows some of the key challenges settings might have or might be thinking about. Bug Club Phonics is designed to help with all of these and so much more. So if we go on to the next slide, Ellie, that would be great. Thank you. So in a nutshell, Bug Club Phonics offers schools a complete suite of resources. It's phonics first and fast. It's got a really clear sequence through the GPCs, and it's got a repetitive structure, so there's no time wasted in getting the children ready and learning straight away. It very much complements the Letters and Sounds 2007 progression. And also, it's, as I've mentioned before, one of the DFE's approved phonics programs. It was written by the 2 people who did the Clackman and Share study, which proved really influential on government early reading policy at the time. So it's built on really strong pedagogical foundations and offers you everything you need to teach systematic synthetic phonics at foundation and key stage 1. So if we move on to the next slide, this slide captures some of the key points about the programme. As I mentioned, it's a complete suite of resources. So it's got resources for teaching children to read, spell and write. It can be used from the very start of reception, and that's what we would recommend. This slide needs to be updated because it's going to have more than 134 readers. We're really pleased to say that we are adding more new readers this year, including lots of non-fiction in the phase 2. And they're all going to be ready in print and ebook over August and September, at the beginning of September. So you've got them for the start of the next academic year. So Ellie's going to do a walkthrough of a lesson, so I won't talk too much about that, but just to say it's got a range of different resources. So you've got lesson plans, you've got interactive tools, you've got worksheets, you've got flashcards that you can print off. It's got a wealth of assessment in both like digital assessments and game assessments, and also paper-based assessments. There are intervention strategies for helping those who are at risk of falling behind. And as I mentioned before, it's really built on really strong evidence around the progress children make using the resource. So if we go on to the next slide. This slide just captures some of the things we've updated as a result of applying in this first window of validation. So we've added additional guidance for children at risk of falling behind. We've included an assessment schedule, which basically captures all the different ways of assessing in Bug Club Phonics and shows you where those assessments are, and includes next steps and ideas on what to do with those children who are struggling. We've also added additional handwriting worksheets that have start and finish points, and we've tweaked a bit of the tricky words that are covered and when, and some parts of the progression. Can we change the font of the reception resources? Sorry, I'm just reading this question. Can we change the font of the reception resources and the year one worksheets to cursive? At the moment, our worksheets all follow a set way of writing. The option to switch to cursive is within the interactive lesson resources, which Ellie can show you a bit later. See how it works. So this slide shows you the repeated structure that each phoneme session within Bug Club Phonics follows, or within each unit. So the session starts with structured whole class daily phonics teaching, and that's a mixture of carpet-based teaching and also at the desk, and it's got a range of activities. The children then go on to practice using lots of different resources included in the subscription. So it could be online games, it could be the worksheets that are provided. There are also the resource cards, and then they go on to apply their learning with the linked readers, and you can buy those in either print or ebook format. To use the ebook format, there's a really nice pupil world that the children access their ebooks via, and then you go on to assess and see how they're getting on, so that you can help those children who have not quite grasped something yet and know exactly where your class is, and then it goes through the repeated structure again onto the next focus. Does it cover phase 1 phonics? I'm really pleased to say that we are introducing 6 new phase 1 books into the subscription in September, from the beginning of September, and also in print. And we're also complementing those books with phase 1 activities. So it will have some phase 1 teaching ideas to accompany those books. So I'll now hand it over to you, Ellie, to do the walkthrough.
Thanks, Lucy. So I'll just come out of those slides and go into Active Learn Primary. So first you need to log in, and do let us know in the Q&A if you don't have login details yet. So that takes you to the home page of Active Learn Primary, and this is where you'll see all of the subscriptions that your school has. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this already. So I've got all of the products here, but you may see, for example, Bug Club, Rapid, Grammar and Spelling Bug, Power Maths or Abacus. So I'm going to go into the Bug Club tile, and this is the Bug Club homepage, and depending on which subscriptions your school has, you'll see different tiles under these 3 headings: planning, resources, and then tools to help you. So I'm going to go into planning and phonics. So on the right hand side here, underneath the planning guidance and the welcome, you've got the teacher's guides for reception and Key Stage 1. And there's loads of information here helping you to run the course. And included in there is the new information that Lucy mentioned about guidance for children at risk of falling behind, and also the assessment schedule with next steps is in there as well. So I'm going to go to this planning guidance menu on the left hand side, go into reception, phase 2, and you'll see that for each phase we also always provide assessment that you can do before starting that phase to check where the children are at. So then I'm going to go into Unit 5, and these are your lessons. So I'm going to open up the lesson for the phoneme. So the lesson structure is always the same. So children get really familiar with it, and you can move through it at pace and really help them make progress. So it starts with the introduction. You play the alphabet song, which the children really, really enjoy. Go through the learning intentions for the session. Then there's a snappy revision session to go over the phonemes that you've recently covered, and we provide a digital teaching screen for that. And then we're on to the main lesson, which again always has the same structure. So it includes the sounds, visual search, reading, spelling, and writing sections. So you've got all of your teacher's notes here, and there's also a digital teaching screen to go along with that. So let's open that up. So the sound section starts off with a little introductory video showing the children the phoneme they're going to be learning today. So having watched that, you can move on to the reading section. So here you can get children to sound out the phonemes individually, then watch it being blended on screen.
Hop, hop.
And then get a child to come up and practice blending the letters themselves. And then it takes you through a number of words to try that out with. Next, you have the spelling section. So children hear a word said out loud.
Hot.
And then you ask them to, a child to come up and spell the word in the boxes with the other children helping. And then we can check whether that's right.
Excellent.
And then there's the equivalent, but for pictures. So for this, we show a picture and children have a go on their magnetic boards, spelling out that word with their magnetic letters. And then again, we do the same up on the screen with placing the letters into the boxes here. And then to reinforce what they've just been doing the spelling, there's a BBC Active video.
Polyphonic!
And at that point, the children have gone back to their seats. So all of the classroom management is covered in the teacher's notes. So they've gone from the carpet back to their seats. And then we also have the writing session. And for this, we show how the phoneme for the day is written.
H, start at the top. Go down, up to the middle, over and down to the bottom, and flick.
And children will be learning that in lots of ways. So feeling the magnetic letter they've got, doing air writing, and then finally practicing that on pen and paper as well. And also, just while I'm in this digital screen, we have a screen to help you with the follow-up activities, where you can drag the digital magnetic letters up from the bottom to practice some of the words that you're doing in this session. So I'm just going to close that screen now. So having covered the main lesson, we've got the wrap up. So go over the learning intentions with the children again, and just show them that this is H video, just to bookend the lesson, and play the alphabet song to finish off. So that's the structure that it always follows and that children get really confident with. And then we set out for you the next steps. So following the lesson, they can practice this with pupil games, with photocopy masters that they fill in, and obviously with the ebooks as well. And everything you need is in this section at the bottom of the lesson plan. So here in the PCMs, as Lucy mentioned, we've added some new photocopy masters to units 1 to 12, and these cover the handwriting start and finish points, which match what's in the writing part of the lesson. And over on the digital resources, as well as the teaching screens, we've also got pupil games. And you can do these with the class as a whole, or you can allocate them to individual children. I'm going to show allocation again in a moment. And then the same for the ebooks. You can preview them here, and you can also allocate them from here as well. So let's just go back to the left-hand side here, so you can see the structure of the plans. So after these phoneme lessons, each unit always has a language session where you find out about the words that children are able to read at this time, including irregular words. And there's also teaching screens available for these, as well as the teaching notes. As Lucy mentioned, we've added a few extra words into these as part of the validation process. Then each unit has an assessment to check the children's learning. So you've got some digital assessment games here. And then at the end of the whole phase, there's also the written tests, which are photocopy masters for children to fill in, a mark scheme, and there's also some digital assessment you can do to check where the children are at there as well. So that's all of the planning. So I'm just going to come out of there and go into the resources now. So I'll go back in through the Bug Club tile, and then under resources, we've got phonics. And here you can search for all of the content that you saw linked from a typical lesson there. So I can search in many different ways. I'm going to search by phonic phase and then go into set 5 where I was. And this has got all of the ebooks, the digital pupil games, and the photocopy masters for you to open and allocate from here. So you can preview one of the ebooks. So Bug Club Phonics books always have a little activity at the beginning. So this is what children would see as well, where they can find out about the sounds that are going to be covered in the book.
Here are some of the sounds you will hear in this book. Click the speaker to hear each one.
And then going through to the end of the book, there is also another little quiz that children can complete.
Use the letters to make the word that you hear.
And that checks their understanding. So if you did want to allocate this book, for example, you could tick the box, click allocate. I'll find my reception class. And then I can either choose the whole class or just pick certain children and click allocate. And that's been sent. So now we're just going to have a look and see what that looks like for the child when you allocate a book to them. So we're going to have a look at the child's account by going to admin. Again, I'll open my reception class. And I'm going to visit Corey's account by clicking visit account. Click yes. So this is Corey's homepage. So he's been doing various activities, reading books and playing games and collecting coins, which he can spend in My Rewards. I'm going to go into My Stuff, which is where he receives any new content that you send him. So the books that you've sent, they all appear under this Bug Club Independent logo, and that's just because of the subscriptions that I've got set up on this account. So, and if you allocate any phonics games, they'll appear here under phonics. So he can open up a book and then he can navigate his way through and do the little bug quizzes, and the reporting on those is sent back to you. So let's go back to the teacher account, and then we can see what that reporting looks like. So log out as Corey, log back in as a teacher. Go back into Bug Club, and this time go down to the tools at the bottom and you've got your activity reporting. So here's my reception class. I can see which book band they're on, the number of ebooks that they've read, the number of quizzes completed, and how they've done in those quizzes. So for Corey, I can see that he's completed 2 quizzes, and both of those are green, which means that he's answered them correctly on the first attempt. For Mohammed, I can see that he's done 3, and 2 of those were green, 2 out of 3, and one of them is amber, which means it took him 2 or 3 attempts to answer that one correctly. So I can click on his name to find out a bit more information about that. So these are the books he's read. And for the quizzes, I can see it was the I Can Fix It book, where the quiz practiced word reading and fluency, where it took him 2 or 3 attempts to get that right. And if I wanted to, I could open up the book and have a look at that quiz just to check what it was that took him a little bit longer. And he's also let me know how he felt about each of the books that he read as well. So the last thing I want to show you is classroom support. So I'm going to go back in via the Bug Club tile, down to tools, and you've got classroom support, and open up Bug Club Phonics. So there's loads of useful support in here. There's a getting started guide, information on the professional development we offer. There's lots of background on the pedagogy of the programme. Classroom goodies for you, such as certificates and bookmarks to give out. Information that you can send out to parents so you can really get them on side with the methods that you're using to teach phonics. And lastly, a link to some case studies of schools which have successfully implemented Bug Club Phonics. So I'll now come out of Active Learn Primary and go back to my slides. So the other thing that we've added in response to your feedback is a number of brilliant new fiction and non-fiction titles, as Lucy mentioned. So there are 46 titles, and they've been commissioned, written and designed with diversity and inclusion in mind. For example, more diversity in the photos. So these will all be available in print during August and available as part of your online subscription at the start of September. And if you want to ensure that the systematic synthetic phonics approach is embedded in your school, then we recommend one of our professional development courses. So from the autumn, we'll be offering 2 options for these. So we're offering a detailed course covering the fundamentals of systematic synthetic phonics, and also a Bug Club Phonics course, which includes how to deliver the programme and the basis of systematic synthetic phonics. So the two courses can be combined if you're looking for the detailed approach. So I'll send a link after this to where you can find out more about the course. So Diane, do we have any questions?
Yes, we've had a few questions. Lucy's answered some of them live. A lot of people are asking if we're going to produce sound mats or freezes or other resources that they can use in the classroom. So Lucy's answered that live. Do you want to say any more about that, Lucy, and any future plans we may have?
Yeah, I've put some messages in the chat. Basically, we're looking at the cost of producing and stocking resources such as sound mats, freezers, posters, thinking about the rhymes. I know people have been asking about actions as well. So it is something we are looking at, definitely. I think, yeah, it looks like Jasmine had a question about combining subscriptions.
Oh yeah, I've got that one here. If we have a subscription to Spelling Bug and Bug Club, is it additional for the Phonics Bug? Yeah, the Spelling Bug comes as it's a separate strand. So that is a subscription specifically for Spelling Bug. Bug Club, it depends what you've got. Have you got the independent Bug Club ebooks? Then if you have, you will already have access to the current 134 decodable books, and the new 46 will be added in September. If you want the whole class teaching, then that is a separate package for that as well. But Jasmine, we can write down your details and we can get back in touch with you, I think, maybe, and have a look what you've got, and then let you know how you can access Bug Club Phonics as well. I hope that's okay for that one.
I think Colette had a question. When will these be ready, as we need to start in September? So I'm not sure if that was about the books or whether it was about something else. But if it was about the books, they will be ready by September. the ebooks will be introduced at the very start of September. If it isn't about the books and your question was about something else, Colette, please let us know. Oh, it was about sound mats, etc. Okay, thanks. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's something that we're looking at. I can't make any promises as to whether they'd be ready for the start of September. I know that obviously the core criteria mentions if a program has sound mats and freezes and charts, they need to follow the program's progression. And then the early reading framework, it states phonics programs, you know, should have sound mats and stuff like that. So it's something we're looking at very closely. I think from school's point of view, it's just making sure anything that is displayed matches your chosen phonics program's progression and doesn't contradict it at all. So yeah, those are my thoughts on those kind of questions. The handwriting sheets be changed to cursive. I think, Rebecca, are you asking us whether we can change them rather than Bug Club Phonics subscribers change them? It's something that we can look into. We offer cursive writing guidance as an option from year one. It's very much the kind of guidance from the DFE is very much around opting not to use cursive writing at the start. So it's kind of making sure that, you know, we offer something that's pedagogically sound, as well as kind of what some schools are interested in. So whether, you know, we offer handwriting worksheets that include cursive writing styles is something that we will look into.
Okay. Another question from Colette: would it be extra cost or part of the package? And I think Colette's referring to the sound mats or the freezes that we may be publishing.
I think that's to be determined. I mean, me as a product manager needs to look at the costs of producing them and storing them in the warehouse and distributing them. And so as part of that process, we would look at how, you know, those particular resources would be packaged up. So again, it's TBC.
And I think that's all the questions that we've got. There was 5 in there. I think we've answered those. A couple of things in the chat as well, but we've answered those as well as we've gone along.
Brilliant, thank you for that. We'll continue putting any questions in the Q&A just in the next minute or so. That does bring us almost to the end of this webinar, so thank you for your time, and I hope this has been useful in finding out more about the latest developments in Bug Club Phonics. So I'll send a follow-up email to you with some links to some of the resources that we've talked about. And I'm also going to put up a couple of questions on screen. And this is really for those of you who don't already have Bug Club Phonics, to let us know if you want a free trial or a quote of that. So that should be up on screen for you now. So the customer success team are here to help you as needed. And we can always provide a 30-minute walkthrough for new teachers or teaching assistants. We can let you know when your subscriptions renew and give you a quote for any additional resources. So I'll just give us another minute or so to you to fill in that poll. And if you have any more questions in Q&A, and then I'll finish the webinar after that.
No more new questions as yet, Ellie.
No more new questions for now. Okay, I think it looks like there's no more responses coming in on the polling. Oh, I spoke too soon. A couple more there. Thank you.
Did we cover? There's a question. Is the CPD free? Have we covered that?
Sorry, I missed that one. No, the CPD isn't. It does come with a cost. So they are courses that have a lot of pedagogy built into them, and they do come with a cost. And Ellie's going to put a link in the follow-up email to the CPD courses, so you'll be able to see the cost. And I'm not sure, do you know, Ellie, going forward, we are delivering all our PD courses online at the moment, but I'm not sure if we're going back to face-to-face. So I'm going to say we're going to continue delivering online, and generally it's up to 45 teachers can attend each session.
Yeah, I think we'll do an update on that in the autumn, depending how things are.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your responses to the polls. I'm just going to end the polling now. And thank you again for attending this webinar, and I hope that that's been useful. And I'll just end the webinar now. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.